Now, to me, that is one of the most psychedelic songs ever written.
That's psychedelic, yes.
That song is psychedelic, and I'll tell you, it's like Indian Summer. It's very simple. It's almost Zen-like. It's so simple. But the spaces that your mind goes to in that song is just it's incredible, I think.
The void. You go in. You can go into the void, and it takes you all to all different kinds of places. Robbie's guitar is just sliding around, and there's an organ going very psychedelic. You know, the Doors were always essentially a very simplistic kind of band. It was the simplicity of the Bauhaus. It was clean, it was elegant, it was precise, and it wasn't muddy. Once we were playing up in San Francisco at the Fillmore, and Owsley, the king of LSD, the guy who made LSD, and he came up to me and he said, "You got to get a rhythm player, man, a rhythm player." I said, "Why do we need a rhythm guitar?" He said, "You got to get one because you got too many holes." And I said, No, Stanley. That's where the void shines through, man. Right. And he said, "Oh," and he kind of waved at me. He said, "No, you got to get a rhythm guitar player," and walked off, and I never saw him again.
Playing the silences. All right. We got to stop here for just a minute, and when we come back, we're going to take your calls. We're going to give away tickets to the gig on Wednesday at the Whiskey. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take the calls unscreened, and you will decide if you want this person in the audience or not.
Oh, cool. All right.
So we'll listen to their question, then you can go, okay, yeah, they get a ticket or not.
Okay.
So you better come up with some damn good questions, because Ray will embarrass you.
Or have something good to say anyway.
Exactly. So we'll be back on KLOS right after this. KLOS Los Angeles. My guest is Ray Manzarek. He's going to be appearing at the Whiskey this Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, along with Robbie Krieger, a guitarist of the Doors, and John Doe will be there, and Michael McClure will be there, and Ray Manzarek will be there, and undoubtedly on time. You know, he is a musician, so timing is everything in this man's life.
You got to keep it going. It's got to be right in there, right in the groove.
Exactly
that's
right.
One of the things I learned in that psychedelic state. Put it in the groove. Get it right in the groove. You know what it's like? It's really, it's an act of love. It's like making love. It's exactly what it's all about. The same rhythm and the same energy that a male, female, male and male, female and female. I don't care what. But it's the act of love, and that's what you got to do. Music is you have to approach it with making love. That's what it's all about.
You know, one of the things I really respect about you so much is the fact that you have not lost your passion, not only for music but for life. And learning, you're still excited by things. I have a saying: cynicism is easy, optimism is a bitch.
Optimism's tough, especially now, Yeah. It's really a hard thing to do now. In intellectual circles, it's hard to be optimistic. But what else is there, man? I don't know anything. I'm a dummy. I can't play really well enough. I don't know enough about literature. I haven't read enough books. I've got so much practicing to do. I mean, I'm just getting started here, for God's sake.
Good for you. Amen. Amen. All right, let's go to the telephones now. Here's what we're going to do. We'll take anybody's question. It'll be up to Ray if your question is, let's say, up to snuff, enough that you will get a pair of tickets to see Ray at the Whiskey. And if you come upon a really great question or comment, we have the box set to give them.
Oh,
so
very cool.
Whoever.
Very
okay.
cool.
Let's go. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Ron.
Hi, Ron. How you doing?
Fine. I just wanted to say it's an honor to talk to Mr. Manzarek.
Thank you, Ron.
And, your music brought a lot of tasteful times in my life, and it's not often that I get to talk to someone as famous as you. And at any rate, let me get my heart rate down.
Take a deep breath. It's okay.
I just wanted to ask, what inspired Jim to do obscene things that he usually used to do on stage?
Well, see, you don't get a ticket.
No, that's Bueller the buzzer says.
Sorry, man. See, those are all rumors and stories. Now you're probably influenced by the Oliver Stone movie. Don't believe what you saw in the Oliver Stone movie. Now, did Jim Morrison whip it out in Miami? Well, we don't know. We don't know for sure. Did he do obscene things on stage? One guy said to me, he took a dump on stage, man. And I said, yeah, it was on your face. You know, like, what are you talking about? He took a dump on stage. What did the man do, pull his pants down and make poo-poo on stage? He couldn't do that. You don't do that. No one's done that. That's an insane thing. Jim didn't do obscene things. He did dark and dangerous, hypnotic, psychological things on stage. That's what he did on stage. Whether Miami happened or not, there's 100 photos offered in evidence. There was not one single photo of Jim Morrison's ivory shaft.
All right, let's hope that the next question is, hi, how you doing? What's your name?
Oh, my name's Matt.
Hi, Matt. Speak on up. You're talking to Ray Manzarek.
Yeah, my name's Matt from Los Alamitos.
We've established that. Do you have a question?
Yeah, Mr. Manzarek?
Yes, Matt.
How you doing?
Very good, sir.
Recently I've been listening to your music for the past 3 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And 2 years ago I thought it was too dark, but now I'm starting to get everything, especially since I'm an English major.
Very good.
And I'm just wondering, how did your life change when you were up on stage in the presence of Morrison and in relation of feelings, thoughts, emotions?
Well, you give up all thought about yourself, and you submerge yourself in the music. Jim's the singer, John's the drummer, Robbie's a guitar player, I'm the keyboard player, and there's a song. We're playing a song. That's all that exists. There's only a song. There's Moonlight Drive. There's Backdoor Man. There's Light My Fire. I know that I'm going to have a great organ introduction. Then I have a solo coming up. Jim's going to do a couple of verses, verse, chorus. Then I'm going to go into my solo. Robbie's going to do his solo. And there's John keeping the beat all the time. That's the only thing that exists. You don't think about anything else. When you're making music on stage, you don't really think about anything other than the act of making music. And that act of making music is really heavy, man. Really heavy. And it's not dark. Well, it is dark. It's dark and it's light. It's yin and it's yang. It's black and white. It's it's the entire universe. So give this man a couple of tickets.
All right. Got that? All right, we'll put you on hold. Hi, what's your name? You're on with Ray Manzarek on KLOS.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello? Hi. This is Michael Eckhart.
Hello, Michael.
I just wanted to know, how do you feel about the legalization of marijuana? And do you think that and all the people in prison for drug charges and stuff? I mean, not even violent charges, and getting strikes against them, and for.
I got you, man.
So basically, what's your opinion on the war on drugs?
It's totally insane. I think the fact that all those people, those guys, mainly guys, there's some girls, but it's lots of guys that are in prison for marijuana is totally ridiculous. That's totally insane. 60% of the people in our jails are there because of petty little drug crimes. If the guy's got a habit, if the girl's got a habit, they ought to go into some sort of detox rehab kind of place. It's certainly not jail. And smoking pot that's insane. I mean, the fact that the government is cracking down on pot is totally insane. Marijuana should ultimately, and probably ultimately will be, first it's got to be decriminalized. Let's not say legalized, because people of, the Republican persuasion will freak out. You can't say legalized, but first we'll decriminalize it so that if you're caught with a joint, you're not going to be arrested. I think it's totally insane, man. I'm surprised that America is still at the stage that it is. But then it's a battle. It's like Newt Gingrich said, it's a battle for the hearts, minds, and souls of America. So basically, it's us, the lovers, versus those guys, the fascists. I love America, and I love being alive on this planet, and I'm going to fight those fascists until the very end. So let's give this guy, for the legalization of marijuana, let's give this man a couple of tickets and a box set.
A couple of tickets and the box set. Good for you. All right, hold on. You're listening to 95.5 KLOS, and my guest is Ray Manzarek. I'm having a little bit of trouble.
That's all right. I'll talk while you're looking, Jim. Go right ahead.
No, I got it now.
Okay.
Anyway, since you're talking about America and the legalization, there is a gentleman by the name of Todd McCormick, who was busted for growing pot in the Beverly Hills mansion. He's got cancer.
Oh, right, that guy. Yeah, sure, right. Yeah. He had a bunch of little plants growing in little pots.
Yeah, he had a lot of them, and the compassionate powers that be to help this man, conquer his cancer problem just gave him 5 years in a federal prison.
Insane. It's totally insane. Go get the rapists, go get the people running around with guns and shooting each other and robbing and stealing and doing all that nasty stuff. The people with pot, are you kidding me? What could be more benign, Potheads don't go out and kill people. They just sort of sit down and nod out, hey, man, groovy. I mean, that's what we used to say in the old days. Groovy. Let's do a doob.
All right, this is 95.5 KLOS. I can't figure if I ought to play Peace Frog or L'America for this subject, so I'm going to pick one you don't hear often enough.
Teach you how to find yourself, L'America.
Doors on KLOS and L'America. Very interesting song. I've always heard that about, obviously, the references of exploiting the Native Americans to trade some beads for a pint of gold.
Right.
The white man, the way that we have ruined this country. But it's also more than that in that song, too. Tell us about what you think that song's about.
Boy, L'America is what the whole West was called, the new continent, by the people in Europe. And a little etching of a South American Indian man and his wife and the baby, and the wife and the baby are in a hammock, and he's standing next to them, and he's brightly feathered. The Negroes in the forest are brightly feathered, saying, "Come live with us in forests of azure. Out here on the perimeter there are no stars. Out here we are stoned, immaculate." And this picture says L'America on it. And it's so it's about, you're right, it's about Native Americans. It's basically about just the friendly strangers came to town. Everyone put them down. They'll change your weather, change your luck. They'll even teach you how to find yourself.
Find yourself, right.
Yeah.
And I always loved how that... the Doors, and this is a wonderful thing about you guys we may talk about after the break here, that this was a wonderful amalgam of classical literature, of ancient tribal beliefs, rock and roll, jazz, the blues. I mean, there was so much that went
Flamenco
into this
guitar player.
Flamenco guitar player.
Robbie's the only rock and roll guy that played with his fingers. You know, he didn't use a pick back then. He played with his fingers. And Densmore is a jazz drummer, and obviously did a lot of marching band stuff. He was the lead drummer of the snare drummer at his high school, Uni High. So you can hear it in L'America. He's doing. So you've got, classically trained pianist, blues and jazz out of Chicago, and Morrison with all his blues background out of Florida and all that literature. And then the film school, UCLA Film School that Jim and I went to. So you throw all that, and Ingmar Bergman and Fellini and Kurosawa and Satyajit Ray and Truffaut and all those great film directors, and a little bit of Jung and a little bit of Freud, and you mix that all together, and psychedelic Southern California, and you've got a band called The Doors.
Unbelievable. We'll be back to talk with more Ray Manzarek. Take your phone calls, give away some more tickets right after this. You're listening to KLOS. The whiskey, that's it. Now, if they can't win them here, how do they get these tickets?
How do they get the tickets? They call the Whisky-A-Go-Go, and if you can't get tickets, what you do is you log on to what is it now?
Virtue TV.
VIRTUETV.com. One word, virtuetv.com, Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. And you will see me, and I'll be playing the piano and telling Doors stories. Robbie Krieger's going to be there. Robbie and I are going to do Riders on the Storm, and John Doe from X is going to sing Riders on the Storm. I can't wait to do that, man. It's going to be fun. Perry Farrell's going to read some of Jim's poetry and some of his own. Michael McClure's coming down from San Francisco, and he's going to read some of his poetry, and I'm going to play the piano to that. And Danny Sugarman's going to be there, and Danny's going to be reading some excerpts from No One Here Gets Out Alive and or Wonderland Avenue. So it's going to be a great night at the Whiskey, and it'll be on virtuetv.com Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
That's great. That's great. All right, let's take some more calls very quickly. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. What's your question for Ray?
Oh, very simple one. Ray, do you realize, I've been waiting about 30 years to ask this question.
Oh, yeah?
Do you realize what it meant when that first album was brand new?
Now, I know what it meant to me, man. I've got to say that.
He came over and he said, I have a new album. It's called The Doors. I had just read The Doors of Perception by Huxley.
Uh-huh.
And he said, you might want to listen to it. Before the day was over, we had listened to it 7 times.
Oh, man.
About halfway through it, we dropped Owsley Acid. Everything at that time. Oh, man, this is Owsley Acid.
Yeah, right.
But it was so much fun. And the thing that moved me so tremendously was the very opening lines of the thing. I went, what is this thing?
We got to give this guy a ticket.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, do you want to go to the Whiskey on Wednesday? Can you make it Wednesday
I
night?
am what is known as a rock and roll shut-in. I don't really get out that much.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. You know what, man? How about a box set?
Oh no, we've done
You've
that.
got the beats, the freaks, and the punks all there together.
Yeah, that's a nice thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be
All right.
cool.
Well,
It's gonna
thanks
be
for
cool.
the question.
Well, watch it on your computer, man. Thanks very much.
Hi, you're live over KLOS. What's your name?
Jim, it's Johnny.
Johnny. Now, Ray.
Yeah?
This is a real person here. We got to give this man a ticket.
All right.
There it is, Johnny. Go ahead. Give us a question.
Ray, how you doing, brother?
Doing fine, man.
I'm going to just segue off that last guy's call. The same thing happened to me. I was 15. The Osley was there. Your album, Moby Grape, and Jimi Hendrix are your experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 49 years old today, and I still haven't changed.
Why change?
Emotionally and spiritually.
Exactly, man. It's like once the doors of perception are opened, they stay open, and there's no reason to change. What are you going to become, an old fart? You don't have to become an old fart. You can stay hip all the way into your 100 years old and stay hip. Well, listen, do you want to go on Wednesday night?
I'd love to. Honor.
All right, man, and you got 2 tickets for sure.
Very
Thanks.
good. You're gonna love meeting this guy. Hi, you're live over KLOS. What's your name? Hello.
Hi, this is Jamal. How you doing, Jim?
Good, Jamal. Speak right on up. What's your question for Ray?
Okay, Ray, I was just wondering, the song Hello, I Love You, that's a great song, and I love the Doors. And I'm just wondering what kind of inspired you. And one of the reasons being is because my father used to play down in Venice a lot, and he actually played that song, and he said that you guys kind of stole it, but I don't think that's possible. I mean, who wrote that song?
Did we steal it from your father?
Excuse me?
He's not saying we stole it from him, is he?
Well, yeah, he was playing it in clubs.
He was playing the song Hello, I Love You, and we stole it from him?
I love this. Okay. Hey, guess what?
That's quite a story, man.
I know.
Hey, I wrote Hello, I Love You, and those Doors, they came and just stole it from me. What?
I really like it. It just seems a little different than the other Doors songs that you've done.
Yeah, well, that was our hit single. We wrote that song for a gorgeous little African-American girl about 16, 17 years old that Jim and I saw on the beach one day wearing a bikini, and she was like the color of cafe au lait. She was a latte-colored girl who was just absolutely gorgeous, man, just really a Nubian princess. And we saw this Nubian princess walking down the beach, and Jim said, I'm in love. I love her. I just don't know her name. I don't know what to say. I want to run up to her. I said, do not run up to her and grab her and say something, man. You're going to go right to jail. So about 3 days later, he comes to me and he said, you remember that chick that we saw? I said, the Nubian princess? Yeah. He said, I wrote a song for her. It's called Hello, I Love You. Won't you tell me your name? Hello, I love you. Let me jump in your game. That's what I wanted to say to her. And it's about a black chick because Jim says, do you hope to pluck this dusky jewel in there? So that's Hello. That's the story of Hello, I Love You. So what your father is up to, I have no idea, man. He's probably in outer space. But do you want to go to the whiskey?
He's gone.
Okay.
He's in outer space with his dad. This is 95.5 KLOS.
Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name? Hello, I love you, let me jump in your game. Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name? Hello, I love you, let me jump in your game. She's walking down the street, blind to every eye she meets. Do you think you'll be the guy to make the queen of the angels sigh? Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name? Hello, I love you, let me jump in your game. Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name? Hello, I love you, let me jump in your game. She holds her head so high, like a statue in the sky. Well,
101.5 KLOS. And my guest is Ray Manzarek, keyboardist of The Doors. And there was the song that The Doors stole from somebody's dad. That's, wow.
No, actually what we did is that song is very similar to the Kinks, All of the Day and All of the Night. Girl, I want to be with you. Hello, I love you. Won't you tell me your name? And the only difference is the Kinks go ba-da-da-da all of the time, and we don't do that. And I ran into Ray Davies, 20 years ago, and I said, Ray, is there any problem with that Hello, I Love You being like the Kinks, I Love the Day and all of that? He said, oh, Mike, don't be silly. Don't be ridiculous. It's fine. It doesn't say, it's not, you've only used a couple of little beats. What difference does it make? A couple of notes, for God's sake. Don't be, just go ahead and go. God bless my friend. Good, let's have a drink. And all right. And, so Ray was totally cool about it,
Good. All right, well, let's take a couple more calls really quick, and maybe we'll get some actual sane people this time.
All right.
Hi, what's your name? You're on live over KLOS, and don't embarrass me. Oh, man. Hello, please don't embarrass me. Are you listening now?
Hello.
Hi. You've got your radio on, don't you? You got your radio turned up, don't you? Because you want to hear yourself on the radio. Turn your radio down and listen to the phone. Okay? Okay, we're moving on.
Hello.
Hi, you're live over KLOS.
Hello, Jim. Hi, Jim. My name is Ray, and Ray Manzarek stole everything he knows.
Oh, man. Hello, are you there?
Hi, Ray.
Good.
Yes.
What's your name?
How you doing? My name's Darren.
Good, Darren.
Hi, Darren.
I just want to know what that feeling was like on Venice Beach when you asked him what he's been doing that summer and he read you the poem Moonlight Drive.
Well, first of all, it was great existential anxiety, because I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. Dorothy's at work. Thank God she had a little job, and she was supporting the family, the two of us. And then Jim came walking along, and I was very happy to see him. It sort of took me out of my doldrums that I was in, thinking, God, what am I going to do with my life? I got a master's degree from UCLA, and nobody wants me in the Hollywood business, and I don't know what I'm going to do. So when I saw Jim, I was happy to see him. But then when he sang those songs to me, then it was like the wheels kicked into motion. It was like, oh, man, Jim's got a great bunch of songs. Holy cow. I'm a great keyboard player. I can play great keyboards to Jim's great lyrics, and he really looks good. God, he lost a lot of weight. He was down to about 135 pounds, and he looked like him, and he just had an iron jaw, and his jawline had come out, and his abs had come out. He had abs, I mean, I've never had abs. I've been working at it for years, years and years. I still don't have abs. And I thought, this could be really good. We could make some really good music, and his lyrics are like psychedelic. And I said, man, we got to get a rock and roll band together. And Jim said, that's exactly what I want to do. And I said, God, we're going all the way with this one, man. And then I took him home to Dorothy. Dorothy came home from work, and I said, hey, honey, Jim's going to live with us. We're starting a rock and roll band. We're going to call it The Doors, and we're going all the way, and we're going to make $1 million. And she looked at me, and she looked at Jim, looked at me, and I looked at Jim again and said, okay, works for me. And that was it, man. It was just one of the greatest days of my life.
God bless you, Dorothy. Can we give this guy some tickets?
Absolutely,
okay,
man.
Hold on. We're going to give you a pair of tickets to the Whiskey, which is this Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. You spoke about, the thing, because Jim, and he's, Mr. Charisma, and of course he got the attention, but like the Beatles, you cannot have the Doors without those four particular people.
Mm-hmm.
Lennon and McCartney may have done the majority of the writing, but you remove George Harrison or Ringo, you don't have the Beatles.
Yeah.
You remove any one of the Doors, you don't have the Doors.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen.
Well, it was the four quadrants. We always looked at it as like the cardinal points of the compass, or the four quadrants, or north, south, east, and west. I mean, Densmore was the drummer, Krieger's the guitar player, Manzarek's the keyboard player, Morrison's the lyricist singer. So he's like the saxophone player in the John Coltrane quartet, And without any one of those members, without Elvin Jones or Jimmy Garrison or McCoy Tyner, you don't have the John Coltrane string quartet, that great stuff that Coltrane wrote. And the Doors are the same way. We were like equals. People say, "Oh, aren't you jealous of Jim?" Well, why would we be jealous? Right. First of all, well, Jim got all the girls, but then he also got busted. He was a guy who got busted all the time. Jim was the guy who was going to have to do 3.5 years in Rayford down in Miami, for God's sake. So, within the band, we were never jealous. Of course, Jim would get all the attention. He was the lead singer. Lead singers always do. But in the creation of the music, each guy was as vital, as important as everybody else. And it was the vibration, man. Like hippies say, it was the vibration. That's what it was all about. And if you guys out there and girls out there can kind of get that same vibration that we had, it's always there. It's always ready. It's always waiting for you. It's a spiritual vibration, and it's called love.
There you go. Let's talk just for a moment. You alluded earlier to how good Robbie Krieger is, and I have long held that he is one of the most overlooked guitarists in rock and roll. Would you
absolutely.
agree with that?
Oh, of course, man. I mean, when Robbie first came to audition for the band, and it was John's suggestion that we use Robbie. My brothers were in the band for a while, and then nothing was happening, and they said, "Oh, this is ridiculous. Nothing is going on," so they quit. And Densmore said, "Hey, I got a good buddy, man, from the Maharishi's meditation, Robbie Krieger." And we said, "Well, cool, man, bring him down." So when Robbie came down, he came down as the guitar player, and we, had him in the band as the guitar player, not knowing that the secret weapon of the Doors was Robbie Krieger's songwriting. Then he writes "Light My Fire," "Love Me Two Times," all kinds of great stuff. So Robbie was, an absolute guitar genius. And when he put that bottleneck on and went, meow, Morrison started to elevate, and he said, "I want that sound on every one of our songs." And I said, "Well, I'm with you, man. We'd smoke the doob." And I said, "I love it, but I think not every song, Jim, And
every song. I want that sound on
every song. I said, "Okay, Ray, but a lot of them, man, a lot of them." I said, "Yeah, don't worry, it'll be on a lot of the songs."
Well, here's a little example of a lot of times bands will go outside of the group if they're going to do something particularly gutsy, and they will get, for example, a classically trained guitarist or a flamenco guitarist. Not this band. What you see is what you get. What you hear is what you get. Ladies and gentlemen, The Doors on KLOS Los Angeles. Doors on 95.5 KLOS Los Angeles. You know, let's give some to Mr. Densmore there, because how many different time signatures are going on in that song?
Oh, man, yeah, you'd have to ask John on that one. I was just, I'm riding on his shoulders on that one. He's
Louise.
Yeah, John was all over the place, that's for sure. He studied drums. Everyone had studied their instruments. You know, John could read drum music. Have you ever looked at drum music? It's like, how do they even read this stuff? So, you know what, I never could figure it out. So John could read. Robbie studied flamenco guitar. Jim Morrison had been writing poetry since he was 7 or 8 years old, and I've been playing the piano since I was 7 or 8 years old. So it's like the thing about Carnegie Hall, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. That's what the Doors did. So any musicians out there, if you're listening to this show, any musicians, practice, practice, practice. Learn how to read, learn study, learn your scales, learn your chord changes, and then you can go crazy. But don't try to go crazy until you've got a good, solid foundation.
Yeah, let's recap this. First, you learn the instrument, and then you can get the makeup and the hairstyle.
Then,
okay,
if you want that. I mean, if you want to wear makeup, if you're the kind of guy who likes to wear makeup, well, go ahead. You know, I mean, I don't have anything against that. Personally, I don't care for a man with eyeliner.
Well, neither do I, but apparently that's like, you know, I'm waiting for them to list that on a certain album. Lead makeup, you know. Hairstylist done by.
Well, they do it in movies. Why shouldn't they do it on rock and roll records?
Apparently so. Choreography. Okay, how many more tickets we got left to give away here, Kareem? Hello?
Well, we don't know for sure, but we do have a few more tickets to give away.
Let's do some very quickly here, because Ray is, you know, I know you're not feeling well, and I appreciate you.
Exactly. What is that daylight savings time that's really thrown my whole body off? You know, it's like, my metabolism has gone somewhere off.
Well, we got to get you, we're going to get you home as soon as I can. Let me take a couple more calls. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Paul.
Hi, Paul. What's your question?
Is this Ray Manzarek that's here, the man who did an album? The whole thing started with rock and roll, and now it's out of control.
You got it, my friend. You got it.
Any bells?
You guys sure does. Boy, the Golden Scarab and all that. And Carmina Burana, too. We were going to talk about Carmina Burana, but we didn't have a chance today.
And you had a fresh start. But real quick, I met John Densmore at Book Soup about 10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And it was... the Doors became part of, I don't know, a persona. To me, Jim Morrison was the deal.
Uh-huh.
And
now I've got to ask you to get to the question.
All right.
Because everybody's going to want to give them.
How did you feel in a theater, Apocalypse Now, watching the end?
Oh, boy, was that something, the opening of that movie, man, when that napalm hit and this is the end. It was fabulous. It was chilling and thrilling and absolutely fabulous, man.
All right, shall we give them a...
Absolutely. Okay. Listen, you want to come to the Whiskey on Wednesday?
I would love to, and I'd love to meet Ray.
Okay, man, Wednesday night, 9 o'clock. It starts to get there a little early, and you got 2 tickets, my friend.
It's a worldwide... Thank you for calling. It's a worldwide web broadcast. Hi, you're live over KLOS.
Hi, Jim. Hi, Ray. How are you doing?
Very good, thanks.
I'm sorry you're not feeling well.
Well, that's okay.
Okay. I kind of have 2 real quick questions. First one is, how does it feel? Because you are immortal. The Doors are immortal forever.
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
Nice.
And, well,
it's a nice feeling, you know. I mean, personally, I'd rather have a plate of pasta, you know, when I'm hungry. But but it feels real good. It feels good. Of course, it feels great. You know, it's like people like your music, so that makes us all.
Always. And
we all feel great.
When I was young, I was about 7 or 8, watching, of course, the Ed Sullivan Show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was with my grandparents. And what did you guys feel when you walked off the stage after defying Ed Sullivan?
We felt great. It was great. You know, I mean, it was we said the word higher on national person's penis. You know, penis was seen.
Oh, man. That was terrific.
Through the black leather there was kind of a, to Mess and Jim. And it was great. It was absolutely fabulous playing the Ed Sullivan Show.
Can we give her a pair of tickets?
Absolutely. Would you like to come Wednesday?
I would absolutely love it.
Well, you got it, darling. You got 2 tickets.
All right.
Now let me just do this because I promise I'll get you out of here. But I've got to ask you about Carmina Burana because, and this is a great segue because she's talking about the immortality of the music. First off, let me just say this: why is it that this band, and I swear to God, I know some of it has to do with Paul Rothchild, But if you listen to not only the music, but the physical sound of the music, it could have been recorded yesterday, where if you listen to bands who were recorded the same time you were, it sounds like it.
Yeah, it does. I know.
What is it about this group it just doesn't get dated? What is that?
Well, you know, there were 6 doors. There were 4 doors making the music, and the other 2 doors were Bruce Botnick and Paul Rothschild. Without those 2 guys, man, we couldn't have made it. They were our engineer and our producer. Bruce Botnick was the engineer, and then co-produced with us L.A. Woman. And the man's a genius, and Paul Rothschild, God bless him, he's left the planet. He's up with Jim and Elvis and everybody else. They're all waiting for us at that rock and roll hard rock cafe up in the sky somewhere. And those 2 guys I put it all on them. They were absolute geniuses, and it was such a pleasure to work with those 2 men. God, were they intelligent and good human beings.
It is an amazing thing. Now to stretch the analogy a little bit further, to show the immortality of music, you do an album called Carmina Burana, which was written in the 13th century?
13th, 14th century poetry that was then adopted in the 1930s by a German composer named Karl Orff. So this stretches all the way back to actually psychedelic guys who were getting out of the monasteries. These were like monks, renegade monks who had said, hold it, it's not in the monastery. They had ergotamine poisoning through the bread. Ergot is the substance that LSD comes from. These guys were actually ingesting ergot in the bread and the corn smut. It's a disease of corn. So you have to eat the bread anyway. So these guys were eating this bread and having psychedelic experiences just like we did on the beach in Venice. And were breaking out of the monastery, writing this poetry about love and about life and drinking in the tavern and sensuality. And then Karl Orff adapted it in the 30s, and I turned it into a rock and roll thing with Philip Glass in the late 80s.
Well, you did. Carmina Burana on KLOS.